Happy Saturday, folks. Welcome to Verse of the Week, a series where I give modern takes on biblical scripture. This week we have Leviticus 18:28. It reads, "If you defile the land, it will vomit you out, as it vomited out the nations that were before you." So for context, this is directly after Moses led his people out of Egypt. And so this is God prescribing to him, Aaron, and all the Israelites the no-nos, the do's and don'ts of life, and specifically it being preventative in nature to avoid them ending up like the previous generation of humans. Think Noah's Ark, think Adam and Eve. Basically, these were a group of people that were so corrupt that God was like, I need to hit the reset button. So he is basically telling Moses and the Israelites how to not end up like those people. So I think this is really applicable to the modern day individual, and specifically in this series, because just last week we talked about discipline and how it's about continuity and not perfection and giving yourself grace. And at what point is grace just a buzzword that we use to cope with the fact that we are really falling apart or just falling short of the mark in general? My take is that giving yourself grace and falling apart are actually the same feeling, at least at first. The difference is in awareness and whether you're paying attention. In other words, you don't lose yourself when you do something wrong. You lose yourself when you stop noticing that you did. So let's unpack that. Think about the way our brains are wired. I've read a bunch of studies about basically the fact that our brain is always going to choose the path of least resistance. If there's a really hard option and a really easy option, I'll say 9 times out of 10, I'm going to pick the really easy option. Maybe 1 time out of 10, your motivation can kick in and you do the really hard thing and you give yourself a pat on the back. But over the course of a long period of time, we're generally going to choose whatever is the easiest thing for us to do. So I like using the gym because I think it's a really relatable one. But think about someone that says, I want to go to the gym every other day. And so the on day might fall on a Friday. That person had a really long week at work. They're exhausted. They're tired. They just want to sit on the couch and watch TV. They give themselves grace and they don't go. And it's fine because the next day they go, they get back on track. They're back on every other. What you just did was start the pattern for your brain that every time something is hard, you don't have to do it. And it might seem negligible at first, but again, over the course of a long period of time, that's what we care about here. That has the potential to compound itself if you're not on it and you're not aware of it and constantly taking corrective action because it will vomit you out. But for those that understand the context of this story, there is no warning sign of when it's going to vomit you out. It just happens. Those humans thought everything was good. God flooded the earth and they were gone. And the same applies for us. We think everything's good. These bad habits start to compound and then they end up being completely detrimental to us and bringing us back to ground zero or bringing us in the opposite direction of -1. And so I think the really important thing is to, again, stay aware of the corrosive actions as they're happening and put an active plan against them. Stick with the gym analogy. Friday happens. We miss the day. Saturday comes. We get back on track. But because we've established that pattern in our brain, next Friday comes and we want to miss again. This time, rather than try and convince yourself that you have to do the really hard thing, which in this moment is getting up and going to the gym, just convince yourself that you have to stay committed. Do 10 push-ups, do 10 air squats, do 10 jumping jacks. No, it's not the same as the person that's going to actually get up and go to the gym. You're probably better off if you did do that. But you're training your brain. You're training your brain to when it wants to take the easy route out. Okay, you can take the easy route, but take the easy route that's going to make me better. Take the easy route that's going to get me closer to my goals and not the easy route that's going to take me further away from them. That's the part that I really want people to get out of this is we are human and it's easy to talk about it and say, you just got to be better and put more effort in. But what are the actual actionable steps when, because of the human nature of our brains, we're going to take the easy way out? Take the easy way out that is going to bring you closer to your goals, not the easy way out that's going to take you further. So I could talk about this all day, but what's the message? The message is that the key to discipline is 1, having the awareness to know when you're not doing the right thing. And 2, training your brain through small actionable steps that the easy thing is the right thing. Do those 2 and you'll be a lot more disciplined than if you don't. As always, I appreciate the love and support for these and I hope you all have a blessed Saturday.